Welcome to the Swirl to Investment News Network. News by and for the Swirl to Investment community. Hope you enjoy. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to tonight's show. If you've seen the intro, I'm doing this like a news story, okay? I want to be talking about stuff that's been going on, crazy stuff, okay? Um, we know what happened about the social media influencer, and I have four stories of black women being unalived, okay? And I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about, you see the title, right? Uplift, Love, Protect Black Women, okay? I'm going to be talking about that, and we should do that, okay? We should protect all women, okay? Don't get me wrong, but black women are the most unprotected women. Most disrespected women, okay? And that was true back in the day. It's true today, unfortunately, okay? And there's so much going on, and I'm going to try not to do too long of a show tonight, okay? I want to get to the point, talk about it, okay? And give my opinion how we need to do better, okay? Because this crazy stuff that's going on, it's unacceptable, okay? And I will explain, okay? But anyway, I'm going to show you some news stories, okay? I'm not going to go into detail a lot, right? I'm just going to go over it and I'm going to talk about it, okay? There's four stories. One went viral. The other one's not so much. Okay? And why is that? We'll talk about that. Okay? So I'm going to kind of go through this. Okay? I'm going to give you my opinion. And if you want to talk about this, you can come up. Okay? And I'm going to do the best I can to be respectful. And be as accurate as I can be, okay? I'm not going to go into details about this case a lot because there's a lot I don't know. A lot of investigation is going on, okay? So I'm not going to tell you this is what it is and this is, okay? I can only speculate, okay? But anyway, I'm going to get to the first story, okay? And you guys have seen this. You've seen people comment on this. And let me say this, okay? Black women, we need to protect black women, okay? And when something happens to a black woman, okay, regardless whether she's with a white guy, black guy, it don't matter, okay? These young ladies do not deserve to lose their life based on who they date or who their preference is. Okay? And who cares what their preference is? That's their business. The sad thing is these young women lost their lives. Okay? But it seems like we're focused on who did it. And, if they're with a certain group, there's people out there celebrating their death. That's unacceptable. That's wrong. That's evil. Okay? And if somebody takes your life, I thought about that. If somebody was to take my life, it wouldn't matter to me whether they're black or white or Chinese. I mean, somebody just taking a life. And none of us want anybody to take our life. We don't. Okay? We want to live as long as we can and be happy. But when somebody loses their life, it's a tragedy. Okay, and this is sad. Okay, when I started looking at these stories, I'm not in the best mindset. It's kind of depressing. Okay? But I feel we need to talk about this. Okay? Anyway, let me show you the first story. And then I'll give you my take on it. Okay?
Now to a growing
Okay.
And now to a growing mystery, the death of an American lifestyle influencer, Ashley Robinson, better known online as Ashley Janae. Now, she had been on what seemed to be a dream vacation to Zanzibar, celebrating her birthday and saying yes when her boyfriend popped the question. But within a few days, she was dead. CBS Weekend News anchor Jerika Duncan spoke with her family.
Ashley Robinson was on the vacation of a lifetime. She was in Zanzibar, which is off the coast of Tanzania. She was there celebrating her 31st birthday. Her boyfriend of about a year and a half, Joe McCann, proposed to her on the trip, but last week something went terribly wrong. Police say Robinson was found unconscious in her villa and was rushed to the hospital where she later died. Now, her parents tell me they received a call from McCann, the boyfriend, acknowledging that something had happened. But they say it was the resort where Robinson was staying that notified the family of their daughter's death.
Do you believe that Joe McCann had something to do with your daughter's death?
It's under investigation, and we don't know what went on.
It's under investigation, and like we said, we just want transparency.
Today, investigators in Tanzania held a news conference where they said they are questioning McCann and they are holding his passport until the autopsy results are complete.
Okay. All right, so we know about that, right? Now, did he do it? Okay. It don't look good. It's very suspicious. They go to Africa on their honeymoon. He's going to propose to her. The parents didn't think there was anything wrong. They thought their love was genuine. Okay? Now, did he do it? I don't know. It don't look good. Okay? Woman, he said it was a suicide. A woman hangs herself on a door. I don't know. It's very suspicious. Okay? But I don't know. I wasn't there. It don't look good for the guy, okay? I think he did it. But I don't know, okay? That's speculation. But this story has been going viral, okay? A lot of people are going out there, see, you get with a white man, that's what's going to happen to you. That's what white men do, okay? And there's people out there like celebrating, saying rest in your preference. And it's sick and disgusting. It don't matter whether she was dating a white man, black man, her life is gone. And we just can't have compassion for a young lady that lost her life. I mean, a very beautiful young lady. Her whole life ahead of her. What, she was 31? Left the earth too early. And I have no problem with people going viral with this. Put it out there. Okay? But when it goes the other way, okay, we're going to put it on blast when it's a white man unaliving a black woman. But when it's a black man doing it, we're kind of silent. We should put every story like that on blast. Okay? And it's sad. Instead of being focused on who did it, how about we focus on trying to stop this craziness? Black femicide is a real thing. And look, I could pull up a story every day on a black woman that's being unalived. I could create a channel just focusing on black femicide. And I would never run out of content. But for some reason, some black femicide stories are not covered. And some go viral. Why? This is my thought. But it's sad, okay? And look, it shouldn't have happened. I don't know exactly what happened. There's an investigation going on. And I think we'll know, okay? It don't look good for the guy. I just, very suspicious. A woman taking her life when she should be happiest time of her life, on vacation, being proposed to. It just, I don't know, it's very weird, very suspicious. Okay, but I don't know, you don't know, and the investigators are trying to figure it out. Okay? But it's very sad. Okay? All right, let me remove that. I got 4 more stories, guys. That ain't the only one. Soon after that story went viral and people had their opinion, some were making fun of the young lady. Some were happy that, and felt she got what she deserved because she was with a white man and wanted to live her soft life, which is nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, she lost her life. Instead of being sad that she lost it, people are gloating because a white man did it. A got you moment. See, black women, you divest. This was what happened to you. That's what they say, right? These divested, gone wrong jokers, they'll put stories of black women being unalived by white men all day. But they never do it when a black man does it. You ever notice that? Do they really care about the black woman? Or they just care who did it? Keep the narrative alive. But anyway, here's another story. And this came like the day after this story. And it's weird. There's stories coming forward like, whoa. It's kind of scary, right? Anyway, let me show you this story.
Now, we're following breaking news. Police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide at the home of former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax. Now, according to police, Fairfax shot his wife several times in the basement of their home. He then went to the bedroom and shot and killed himself. CBS News Crime and Safety Unit Anna Schechter joins us now on the phone. So, Anna, this is a heavy story. What are we learning about the investigation?
Well, police have been aware that there were ongoing domestic issues in the house. In fact, I learned this morning that he, former Lieutenant Governor, had called police in January and alleged that he was assaulted by his wife. Police investigated and found those allegations to be untrue. They looked at security cameras in and around the home. So they were aware of this. She had filed for divorce over the summer of 2025. And this was a very messy divorce. That is according to the police chief who just held a briefing right outside their home. Investigators were working overnight photographing the basement. He shot her multiple times there before running up to the primary bedroom upstairs. And as you mentioned in the intro, both of their teenage children were home. The boy is a little bit older than the girl. He called 911. At first, he believed his mother had been stabbed, and he didn't know where his father was. And he called 911, and they figured out the chain of events. Once they got there, found the bullet casings near her body, and then found him upstairs. Both were pronounced dead in the early hours just before 1 a.m.
And so you mentioned the domestic violence, the history of domestic violence, and any other details you can provide with regards to that, how long that history lasted?
Well, it's interesting. He had been accused previously years ago, back in 2017, 18, 19 timeframe, and CBS News actually reported on sexual assault allegations against him, which he always denied. He was never charged or convicted of anything. But there were allegations out there about him years ago, going back a decade. And the domestic dispute issues police became aware of just in the last 6 months to a year. But they didn't have a long history looking at that, but they were aware of the allegations against him when he was lieutenant governor. So there's a lot to unpack here, and we are out to sources. Our Ed O'Keefe actually reported on those allegations several years ago. So,
all right, I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, this was a lieutenant governor of Virginia. Okay, you'd think a government official wouldn't conduct himself that way, but people are people. Whether you're a government official, a politician, a rich man, a poor man, there are evil men in all groups, okay? And what we should get out of this is women need to vet and take dating very seriously, like your life depended on it, okay? There's going to be narratives pushed that black women that get with white men, that somehow they're in more danger, okay? But regardless whether it's a white guy, black guy, or whatever, there's evil in every group, okay? And when you're dating, okay, you got to know who you're with, okay? And they're saying that, I guess, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like domestic abuse going on, some kind of domestic violence. And it's sad he had to take her life. Now, I know, and the thing of it is, if you're in a situation, in a relationship, and it's about to end, you need to get help, whether you're a man or a woman. Okay? Taking somebody's life is not acceptable. It don't matter whether you had a long marriage and she leaves you or even cheats on you. Okay? It's you don't have the right to take a life like that. Okay? And the thing of it is a lot of people don't get help. If you're in a domestic violence type of situation, you need to get help, whether you're a man or a woman. Okay? You know, but it's sad. You know, there's always a brighter day, and maybe your relationship didn't work, but you could always find someone that loves you. You don't have to take people's lives. Okay? And, you know, they're pretty quiet on this one. Okay? Because it's a black man that did it. Okay? Which, come on, it's not the color of the man that did it. It's the fact that a man did it. And you know, black women are, you know, suffering because of this. And black femicide, okay, who's committing it? All groups of men are, okay? Now we can go dig in and the percentages that do it, okay? Now, if you look at percentages, and they won't tell you this, about 7% of white men unalived black women, okay, in a relationship. But when it comes to black men, it's 93%. Okay, those are the latest numbers. And it makes sense because most black women are with black men, okay? And the thing of it, and the point is who's doing it more. The point is it's being done, and it needs to stop, okay? Too many women are being unalived and having their lives taken too early. And it's our responsibility. It's not just the black man's responsibility, but it's white men too. As a society, we need to protect women in our society of all colors, okay? But we need to put emphasis on black women because they're the ones that are being unalived the most statistically. They're the ones that are disappearing more statistically. The ones that are being trafficked the most. Okay? There's a problem. And it don't help to act like only one group of men is doing this. We got to get the whole truth. And men need to be held accountable. Okay? But anyway, let's continue.
The police chief, Davis, when he spoke this morning, he said this is a very messy situation, that's a quote, and there's a lot going on. And so this is going to be an ongoing probe. Local police are there. That's the Fairfax County Police Department. Now, of course, he is deceased. She is deceased. This is a family crisis. There are victims support team within that police department that are supporting the children now. Other family members are coming together to support those two teenage children. Of course, that's first and foremost. But police and investigators are also going to take a look at allegations against him from the past, given what has now happened, because I think there should be renewed scrutiny on those past allegations against him.
Right, Amy Schechter, really appreciate you hopping on to get through this breaking news and bringing us those details. Thank you.
All right. There's another case. Now, his wife is a black woman. I think she might be biracial. I don't know. But this story isn't as popular as the black woman with the white man. I wonder why. Okay? But the point is these women had their life taken, okay? And this is sad because their children lost two parents, their mom and their dad, okay? Very sad. And you would think that a lieutenant governor wouldn't do that, right? Professional person, government official. There's evil and corruption in all areas. All economic levels, whether you're in the hood or in Hollywood, whether you're an everyday guy or a politician, there's good and evil in all groups. And we need to recognize that. Good and evil in all colors. Okay? We need to focus more on black women instead of who's doing it. Okay? And those that celebrate people's death, you need to get help. It is disgusting. It is sick. Okay? Whoever a woman dates, marries, that's her business. Okay? Anyway, let me remove this. I got two more stories. Okay? Here's the next one.
Pregnant with his unborn child is...
And look, guys, there's even more. I could do more stories, but I'm just focusing on 4. Okay?
Tonight, the man accused of killing a woman who was pregnant with his unborn child is still on the run.
Kevin Fox is being charged with capital murder. Anieli Ruiz joins us live after looking into the suspect's past. Anieli?
Well, 24-year-old Kevin Fox pled guilty to assaulting Ashanti Allen less than 2 months ago, right before he allegedly killed her. The troubling part for victim advocates is the same day he took the plea deal, he walked out free. Tonight, the search continues for 24-year-old Kevin Fox, now charged with the murder of 23-year-old Ashanti Allen, the mother of his unborn child. Her family is speaking with us.
I cried because I miss her. I laughed because I miss her little humor. And then my tears start turning to anger.
Anger because they can't understand why someone would kill a woman who was 8 months pregnant.
That was your girlfriend. She loved you.
Yes.
You were supposed to love her back and take care of her. You know, you was her child's father.
Allen was last seen on Thursday of last week, but early Friday morning, her mom got an odd text message claiming she was leaving and not coming back. And when they tracked her phone, it led them to Kevin Fox's mother's home. That's where Allen's mother says she found Fox in her car.
She said, "Where's Ashanti? Where's Ashanti?" He could at least told us that day, Ashanti could be over here.
It wasn't until Allen disappeared that her family says they learned about his past.
And I didn't know anything about the incidents until she became missing. Because if I would have knew that, he would have never been around my daughter.
And court documents reveal in 2019, Fox was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Got deferred adjudication, but he picked up another charge for assaulting another woman. That was eventually dismissed when he was convicted on the first case. He served 2 years in prison, but in Ashanti Allen's assault case filed just last year, prosecutors agreed to a plea deal.
He pled guilty to the assault charge. However, it was reduced from a felony to a Class A misdemeanor, and he was sentenced to 280 days in jail.
Fox then got credit for time served while he was in Harris County.
There's a lot of questions, and certainly Ashanti's family deserves answers.
Now those same questions remain as her family waits for justice.
You have nowhere to hide. Be a man and come forward.
So, Annie Ellie, any idea why Fox's charges were reduced?
Okay, I see the comment. You want me to look up this person? I'll look it up and I'll do some research on that. You say that was your best friend? Wow. Wow, I'll look into that. Let me screenshot it with my phone real quick, so I don't forget, so I could research this. Okay, if you don't mind if I do that. Let's see. Okay. All right, I got it. I'll look it up. I'm not going to look it up during the show, but I will look that up. Okay. Yeah, pretty scary. Someone you know that was unalived? Wow. Okay. It happens across the nation. Okay. Black women are look, black femicide's a real thing, guys. Okay. And you don't really realize it till it hits home. Someone you know, someone you love. And these parents didn't expect their daughters to have their life taken like that. And unfortunately, something's going on. Something's going on with these men. What are they doing? Do they have a heart? Do they have a conscience? Why would you want to hurt somebody you love? Even if they reject you, you look, we've all had our heart broken, right? We've always... Anybody that's lived their life, somebody rejected you, somebody hurt your feelings, somebody made you feel really bad, right? I've been through it. Let's be honest. But that don't give us the right to harm people, okay? And it's sad because these women have their whole life ahead of them. And look, ladies, this should be a teachable moment that, look, you can't trust any man. I don't care what color. you date like your life depends on it. Because if you get with the wrong person, it might be just that, your life depending on it. Okay? You got to be stable. You got to, and look, you have problems in your relationship, get help. And I say to men, get therapy if you need it. I know a lot of men don't do it because we think it's not manly to go talk to somebody about your problems, but you just might need to do that, so you don't end up hurting somebody. Okay? Just saying. Let's continue.
You know, Len, there really isn't. I did reach out to the district attorney's office to find out why his charges were reduced and why he was offered a plea deal, but have not heard back. In the meantime, if anyone has any information about Fox, you're told to contact Crime Stoppers or the Houston Police Department. There is a $5,000 reward. Reporting live, Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
The search continuing tonight. Anayeli, thank you. If you know someone or involved yourself in an abusive relationship, reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Text the word START.
Okay, and I'm going to put that up there. This is good information. If you're a man or woman that's dealing with domestic violence, okay, you can call this number. Okay? Get help, please. Look, and I tell you, before I married my wife, I was in a domestic violent situation. Okay, I never put hands on a woman. I was raised not to do that. I never did. But I had a girlfriend that would beat the crap out of me, and I just take it because she's a woman. Okay? But it wasn't right that I had to live with that. But I did. But as a man, she couldn't overpower me, and I could leave. Okay? I just took the abuse because I didn't want to hurt her. Okay? But I'm just saying, nobody should ever go through any type of abuse. And ladies, you're the most vulnerable. Okay? Yeah, it is what it is. Okay? But date like your life depends on it. I'm telling you, you don't know. He could be a guy that's successful, got plenty of money. He could be a politician. He could just be an everyday guy. You don't know. Okay? Some people can't control their emotions. They'll snap. Okay? Now, most people won't unalive women. It's a small percentage, but it does happen. And it happens too many times. Get help. Men, women. And I think men need to focus on this because I'm telling you, if you snap on a woman, most men are more powerful than women. You can really hurt that woman. That's why in my situation, I never laid hands on her because I knew if I would have snapped, it wouldn't have been good. And I had to leave that situation. But I'm telling you, you don't know. You think who you're with is great and you get in that relationship, you get in the honeymoon mode and everything's wonderful. You're loving on each other and life is great. But we're human beings. And being that we're human beings, we all have issues. We do. But it's how we deal with it. Okay? But some people can't deal with their issues. They'll snap. Some people get jealous and just lose control. Even on things that ain't even there. Okay? Anyway, let me bring that down. So if you need to rewind to get that number, if you're out there watching and you're dealing with a domestic situation, get help. Okay? Don't think you can fix it on your own, because sometimes you can't. And that's okay. And look, if it hurts your ego, you can get help without anybody knowing it. That's the beautiful thing about it. You don't have to tell people your business. Just get help. Okay? Alright, now, okay, that first video, it went viral. Everybody had something to say. Okay? A lot of people were telling black women, see, you get with the white men, you divest, and see, that's going to happen. Which is a lie. Okay? The percentages of black women with white men is very low that it'll happen. Now, dealing with 350 billion people, you're going to find some people that are evil. Okay? But don't be a victim. Okay? And you need to vet people. Look, you need to get with someone that's got their head together. And don't avoid those red flags. Okay? Don't think you can fix somebody. Ladies, a lot of times you think you can make that man better. And black women are amazing. They can, with their love and pouring into a man, make a man better. Black women, you've done that. But some men, you can't do that. Some are so broken, and you don't need to be around them. Okay? So don't go in there and try to rebuild the man. If he ain't got it together, don't mess with him. And I'd say that with men, too. Look, the girlfriend I had that was abusive, I knew there were red flags. But I thought I could get it together. I could just show her I love her and I'm there for her and she'll change. She said she would, but she kept hitting me. Okay, and I took it because I don't hit women. I was raised. And thank God I had that because it could have been awful. Okay, but I had to leave. I had to get out of that situation. I had to clear my head and move on. Some relationships aren't meant to hold on to. Sometimes you got to let go. Okay? But I cleared my head and I learned a lot. Then I found my wife, Sandy, and I've been blessed ever since. But life is an education. Okay? And these cases are sad. They get you down. Watching that, I'm depressed. I mean, I don't know these women, but it's just a bad vibe. It just feels awful. These are beautiful young ladies that have their whole life ahead of them. And their life taken for what? Now, anyway, let's play this video. Okay? And this was really stupid. Okay? A young lady lost her life working at a fast food restaurant over some onion rings. I kid you not. Anyway, let me play this story.
A lot of questions remain unanswered in the killing of a woman who was working a Steak and Shake drive-thru. The victim's family is speaking this evening about this violent attack. The shooting happened late last night in North St. Louis County. That Steak and Shake is in Spanish Lake along 270. It's where Dunn Road and Bell Fountain Road meet at the interstate. This shooting appears to be over food. So let's get more from our Shoshana Stahl, who is live at 5 from that Steak and Shake tonight. Shoshana.
Yeah, Corey, I spoke to the victim's mom out here in the parking lot of the Steak and Shake earlier this morning. She tells me her daughter had only worked here for about 3 to 4 months, and she loved coming to work. Now she's trying to wrap her head around how her daughter could be killed simply just doing her job.
It's never that serious to take a person's life over some fast food.
Tamala Washington was woken up by her family this morning to the news her daughter, Tronia Lachelle Meakans, was killed while working at the Steak and Shake in North St. Louis County Wednesday night.
I couldn't believe it. I just talked to my daughter. We was talking about her birthday. She wanted me to cook a special meal, her favorite meal. Her birthday is April the 23rd of this month. Instead of celebrate her birthday, I would be burying my daughter.
Wow. Let me stop right there. Think about what this mother's going through. Her daughter went to work at Steak and Shake and lost her life over fast food. She said her birthday, April 23rd? So she was getting ready to cook her daughter a meal she wanted. Instead of celebrating her daughter's birthday, she's got to bury her daughter over freaking fast food. It makes no sense. People are going to take a life over fast food? And I think it was over onion rings. What kind of sick world do we live in? How come this story didn't go viral? Or the other ones? Does anybody care? It scares the hell out of you. If you got kids, grandkids... Look, I worry about my kids and grandkids. Okay, my kids are adults, but I still worry. My grandkids are growing up. What kind of world they're going to be faced with? Just working out of fast food, you could lose your life? Wow. You can just see the hurt in the mother. Just think, a mother gives birth to her child and loses her child because of some fast food dispute. Really?
For some senseless act.
St. Louis County Police say around 11:30 Wednesday night, 2 workers were shot after a confrontation at the drive-thru. Washington says the Steak and Shake manager told her it was over the customer asking for more onion rings. Chauncia was weeks away from celebrating her 33rd birthday.
She's loving, caring, friendly. She loves to party. She would give you the shirt off her back if she had it. There's nothing she wouldn't do for anybody that she tried to help.
Another worker was also injured, but is expected to survive.
We should no longer be surprised. The rate of violence that is happening in the St. Louis metropolitan area should be alarming to all of us.
James Clark with the Urban League says their community outreach programs like Urban Therapy and the Gun Violence De-Escalation Network are working. But the culture around violence, he says, is rapidly changing.
Crime and violence is becoming a more and more accepted and expected culture. And how do we begin to look at what we're currently doing that is getting results? How do we begin to come up with new adaptations to what we're doing?
And Clark says that includes businesses adding de-escalation training into customer service training. Chauncia's mother has one message to the people who killed her daughter.
Please come forward and turn yourself in. You took somebody's daughter, somebody's auntie, somebody's cousin away from them. That's all I want. It's justice for my daughter. That's all I'm asking.
St. Louis County Police haven't released any information about the potential suspects and don't have anyone in custody right now. If you know anything about this shooting, you're asked to either call St. Louis County Police or Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in North County, Shoshana Stahl, First Alert 4.
Alarming and senseless, very sad. Shoshana, thank you.
Okay. Pretty sad, right? And I look in the comments and let me see. You're afraid of your daughters? Yeah, I'm afraid of my children too. Whoever thought? And who are these people that could take a life over onion rings? Onion rings. Because she didn't give you extra onion rings, you're going to take her life? Let that sink in. She lost her life over onion rings. It's sad. What do all these cases got in common? They're all black women that lost their life because of relationship going bad. And then one for onion rings. I don't get that. I don't. You got to be pretty evil to take someone's life over onion rings. I mean, they probably could have went inside and complained to the manager and probably got their onion rings. They didn't have to take a life. Okay, and some of you ladies are afraid to date, and I don't blame you. Because of all this crap that's going on. And it's almost like violence is like a norm. Is our world getting so evil that just take life because we get our feelings hurt or our relationship don't go good, so we just take lives? We don't get those extra onion rings, so we just take the woman's life? And the reason I showed you these videos, okay? My point is I'm not going to dig in. What's the color of the men that did this? I mean, they do keep stats of this. But why is this happening? What are we doing in society to fix it? Can we fix it? Are we too far gone? Now, these situations, most people don't deal with this stuff in their life. Okay? All right? I'm going to say most men ain't going to unalive you, regardless of their skin tone. Okay? But there are evil men in every group, and you got to know this. Okay? And I would say go beyond vetting. Have your standards. If there's a red flag, you take it serious. I don't care how much you love the guy. I don't care how good he makes you feel. I don't care how much you're attracted to him. If there's a red flag, you better take it serious. I'm telling you, you cannot fix people. The only way they're going to be fixed is if they do it themselves, take self-accountability, or God does it. But ladies, you cannot fix a man. Okay? Don't try to do that. If he's got issues, leave him alone. I'm serious. And don't think, oh, well, he makes good money, he's got a good job, he's doing good, but, you know, he kind of flies off the handle and acts weird. Well, that's a red flag. You don't want to be with a man that has a temper and flies out of control. Now, some people have tempers and they just complain and yell and it's done and they don't hurt no one. But how do you know? He might be the one that snaps and actually hurts you. Take red flags serious. And look, I'm going to tell you, in my experience, before I got married, and that was long ago, I've been married 32 years. Well, next month will be 32 years. But when I was dating, I always seen the red flags. I always knew. But, and look, whether you're a man or a woman, you're in love with that person, you see the red flags. But a lot of times you're like, well, okay. And you kind of ignore them because you really love that person. And you kind of let it go. You kind of ignore it. You're in denial. You think you can fix it. 9 times out of 10, you cannot fix it. Like I said, date like your life depended on it. Okay? But there's always red flags. It really is. We just choose to ignore them. And we think people will change. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Are you willing to roll the dice and take that chance? I'm just saying. And I'm telling you, anybody that's been in a domestic violent situation, what's the first thing they do when they hit you? They do it because they're angry and they snap, and then they'll feel guilty. They know they're wrong, and they'll tell you, I promise it'll never happen again. But it keeps happening. I had a girlfriend, and I lived with her, and I wasn't supposed to do that. And God, I paid the price for it. And she would actually snap and hit me. Like I said, it's a woman, so I didn't hit back because we don't hit women. Right? And thank God I didn't, because I might have hurt her. But she always said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll never let it cry, and I'll never let it happen again. And then the relationship gets better, and you think it's never going to, and then it does again and again. But what I had that women don't have is I could get away. Sometimes there's women out there that deal with abuse. They can't leave the house because the man overpowers them. And I'm not trying to scare people, but take dating serious, like your life depended on it. Okay? Like your life depends on it. Okay? Most of us won't have to go through that. But you never know. Okay? But tonight, I just wanted to say, and I wanted to talk about, okay? And look, it breaks my heart. I think it's sad, okay? Because these young women have their life ahead of them. You know? And because people don't have discipline, they lost their life. And look, if you're in a relationship, a marriage, and it don't work, look, life goes on. You can get through it, believe it or not. Trust in God. Get help. Okay, don't react in anger. I know that's easier said than done. Don't do it. Okay, because you have, and look, that man, that lieutenant governor, you know, used to be a lieutenant governor. His life goes on. Maybe he had some domestic abuse issues, and it sounds like he did. You know, he needed to get help. And look, you abused your wife. I'm not saying he did. This is speculation. Okay, I don't want to say something. Okay, this is, what's that word? Allegedly. Okay? Because I don't know enough about this. But it sounds like it. Okay? Now you get help. You know, in your marriage, you might be over. It's over. You messed up. Fix yourself. Heal. Let your wife move on so your children can have a mother and father. Okay? His wife was a dentist. Okay? Professional people. You know, and look, there's no reason why a life need be taken. Okay? There are places you could get help. He could have got therapy. He could have got help. He could have, you know, help him with his anger issues or whatever he had a problem with. And you move on. Life goes on. We get our hearts broken, but life goes on. You live to fight another day. Yeah, I know, Jennifer. Yeah, there are women that unalive men too. Yeah, you're right. And there are plenty of stories about that. Yeah, it does happen. You're absolutely right. Right now, I'm just focusing on black women, because this thing is. And look, I don't want to. I want everybody to be free of domestic violence. Okay, and I've seen cases where women will unalive their boyfriends. We see that all the time too. Okay, look, domestic violence can hurt any of us. We think it more. We think more of women because most domestic violence cases, the woman's the victim. Okay, but it does go the other way. I had a situation that went towards me, and look, and that woman needed help. And if I would have stayed in that relationship, I wasn't never going to lay hands on her. But what if she got so mad at me she unalived me? Some relationships you got to get out of. Okay? And look, I'm for, strong relationships. And when it comes to marriage, I think a marriage should be forever. Okay? But you get with the wrong person, sometimes you got to get out of that marriage. Okay? All right? There's sometimes you got to leave that person. Or you might lose your life. You might be harmed. Okay? And there's no shame in that. No shame in leaving a bad situation to protect yourself, your children, whether you're a man or a woman. And like Jennifer said, it does go both ways. So we all got to be careful. Okay? Women are more vulnerable, but us men can be, we can be harmed too. Don't kid yourself. Okay? We got to be with the right people. I say, yeah, but only 10% of unaliving worldwide are women. 90% are men. Yeah, and that's true. Look, it's mostly women that are the victims, but I think what she was saying is, look, it goes both ways, okay? But, yeah, we should focus more on women because they're the biggest group of victims when it comes to domestic violence, okay? And, but we all should be aware. It could go either way, okay? But we should never. And those that are celebrating women being unalived because they feel they went with the wrong color of man, they need to ask for forgiveness and get help. That is disgusting. That is evil. Okay? Women have the right to date and marry whoever they want, whether they're black or white. They could go with whatever group of men they're attracted to. That's their right. That's their choice. That's their business. Us as men, we shouldn't be telling women, you got to be with this race, you got to be race loyal. No. The thing of it is we should be concerned, is she with a good man that loves her? We got too many weak, pathetic men that, are so insecure. They see a woman go with another race. Oh my God! And then something bad happens and they celebrate a death. Really? What the hell is wrong with these people? But anyway, we need to love and protect black women, uplift black women. Okay, and don't come for me. I mean that for all women, because I know there's some jackass. Well, Roadrunner, what about white and Asian women? Well, yeah, they should be loved and protected too. But nobody's being unalived, are harmed more statistically than black women. So we need to put a little more emphasis on that. I'm not saying we ignore other women, but we need to focus a little more. Because so many times, black women's stories don't get put out there. So many times there's a little black girl missing and it don't go national, it's only local news. Okay? For some reason, a white little girl gets more attention. Okay? And it seems like if a white man commits, unalive somebody, it gets more attention than when a black man does. Why are these things that way? The point is, someone unalived these black women. And the ones that did need to be held accountable. Period. End of story. And those of you that celebrated this, made jokes, you need to ask God for forgiveness. Because it's not a laughing matter. It's not funny. No woman deserves to lose her life based on who she dates, based on who her preference is. And if we were good men, we'd just be happy that a woman found a good man. Instead of wrapped up in our egos because they didn't pick us. Really? What's it? Black men unalive black women at higher rates than any other. Yeah, that's true. And I said that. Look, when it comes to black women, black femicide, the perpetrators that commit black femicide, okay? White men and other men is about 7%. Black men are 93%. That's the latest numbers I've seen. Okay? And black women are the most race loyal, so it's going to happen more with black men. Okay? And we shouldn't sugarcoat it and pretend it don't happen. And what makes me mad about the whole thing is people are not telling the truth. They're trying to make it look like, well, it's white men doing it. See, black women, you get with a white man, that's what happens. But they ignore all the other cases when black men do it. Why? To protect the image of a certain group of men? Shouldn't we be protecting women and put the truth out there? Some reason that's not happening. Why? But ladies, do your research. Ladies, okay? There's information out there, okay? And I'm not telling you go date a certain race. That's your business, okay? I'm not going to tell you who's the best for you. That's up to you to figure that out, okay? I will tell you some stats, okay? Right? Black women usually do better when they open up their options. Newsflash, us white men do better when we open up our options. Why is that? But that don't mean that you're with that group that gives you a better option statistically. That don't mean you're not going to run into somebody evil in that group. Okay? Now, don't go through life fearing all men, but be smart about it. Make sure you know who you're dating. Make sure you vet and have your standards. And there are good actors, okay? There are men that'll make you think, make you believe that they're great men. Okay? But if you have your standards, that's another layer of protection. Okay? Ladies, your innocence is your protection. Okay? You don't give yourself to a man, in my opinion, not till you're married, okay? People are going to do what they do. But I'm just saying, you better make sure he loves you and it's real. There are predators out there. They come in all colors: black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Arab. Okay? And black women, there are men that know what you're going through. They see you talk about it online. Okay? Now, some men will look at that and say, oh, well, I always loved black women, and there's a problem. Maybe I could be a guy that will be a good husband and provider for her. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are guys that say, oh, they're having problems with black men. And they'll use that to get to you. Play on your emotions. Make you believe they love you and they're into you. Okay? But if you have your standards, 9 times out of 10, their evil deeds will surface. You got to do more than vet. You got to have your standards. Okay? Some men are predators, that's true. They hunt for the vulnerable. They do. Because the vulnerable are easy to manipulate. That's right. Okay? They know you're hurting. They know you got a lot of emotions. They know that, a woman that's hurting, you show her some love, you comfort her, you embrace. Sometimes they'll use that to manipulate you. Make you think that they're a good man, they just care for you. Okay? And most predators, they'll prey on the women that are hurting, the women that are going through some things, come off an abusive relationship. Men see this. Okay? They'll see your emotions. They see your hurt. And they'll play off that. And some are so good at it, they'll have you in bed when they, doing things you shouldn't do. Because they'll manipulate you and get you thinking that they really love you. I'm just saying. Okay? Now, there are women that are good manipulators too and take advantage of men. So that can go both ways. But just be aware. Okay? Ladies, don't try to rebuild a man. No matter how much love you have, if he ain't right, that ain't going to work. Okay? A good man will love you. A good man will embrace the love you give him, and he'll give it back to you. Okay? Be patient with relationships. Okay? I know we're human, right? Okay, whether you're a man or woman. You've been alone for a little while, you want someone in your life. You want that companionship. You want that relationship. You want somebody to love that loves you back. But be patient with that. Don't just jump into a relationship. Make sure you know who you're dating. Have your standards. Ladies, your standards are your standards. Okay? And don't compromise them for nobody. Okay? And us as men, and look, we need to be better men. We do. Okay? And yeah, those of us that are good men, we need to call this out. Okay? Those of us that love black women, we need to call it out. And we need to show black women love and respect. Okay? There's nothing wrong with getting online and showing black women some love and talking about amazing things that black women do. Nothing wrong with that. That's not pandering. That's not... Look, If you're showing them love and respect and you're not looking to get anything out of it, that's perfectly fine. That's a beautiful thing. Okay? And look, we're all humans. We all want to be uplifted, right? When somebody gives us a compliment and says something kind to us, we gravitate to that. We love that. We're human. I know when people give me a compliment, I embrace it. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. I mean, it means a lot. And are we really uplifting black women? Are we protecting them? Are we loving them? Are we showing them love and respect? Okay, we can't roam the streets and protect all black women at all times, but what we can do is protect their image. And really, all you got to do is black women tell the truth. Black women are doing amazing things. Black women are getting their education, moving up in the corporate world. You know, when it comes to traditional women, black women are some of the most traditional women I've met. You know, I met a lot of black women that are awesome. Being a wife, being a mother. Loving the man in their life, their children. Let me tell you, with my life, okay, I had some issues early on. I had my struggle moments. But one thing that was amazing, once I married my wife, it's like everything worked out. It was like I was in some kind of protection. It just, everything, doors flew open, things were happening. I was more motivated. I had more desire to do better. It was like my life opened up. It was like, for the first time in my life, I had privilege. Okay, people say you got white privilege because I'm a white guy. Okay, I guess. But really, where the real privilege came is when I married my wife. And I do believe this. Some people think I'm crazy. But if you give love to a black woman, show her love and respect, you will be blessed. I do believe that. Okay, now there are some black women that'll treat you bad and do you wrong. But for the most part, most black women are loving, amazing women. And I do believe that God blessed me because I had love for black women. Because, you know, I love my wife and I poured into my wife. And my wife has done so many amazing things. Has got me to be better as a man. That has motivated me, made me believe I could do better. I can accomplish things. And it wasn't that she boosted my ego. She just, with her love, just gave me confidence, motivated me. And the love she was giving me, I wanted to give it back to her so much. And I wanted to be more successful. And I wanted to make more money. Not because I'm greedy, but because I love my wife. Because I wanted to provide for her even more. Yeah, I paid the bills. I bought the food. I took care of my wife from the get-go. But I wanted to do more. I wanted my wife to have everything she wants in life. And I would give my wife everything. She already gave me everything. And that's the beauty about black women. People don't know about black women, how much of a treasure they are. I call black women the hidden treasure. And I'm not alone. You know, I got the most amazing wife in the world, but I see black women, you know, uplifting their husbands and doing amazing things. Look, I give my wife credit for everything. It worked out. She always had my back. I don't think I would have been where I'm at without her. I don't. I think I would have done good. I think I'm a good guy. I would have, you know, pushed through. But Not like I did with my wife. And when the Bible says you find a wife, you find a good thing and have favor from God, oh yeah, that's true. And it breaks my heart because I see these young women, their life being taken. And I believe a lot of these women would be great wives and would bring out the best in a good man. I do believe that. You know, so, you know, and sometimes I get crazy. Sometimes I go and fight with these dusty dudes, which I really shouldn't do. But when I see them attacking black women, it just drives me crazy. Because it's wrong. It's not right. I can't. And look, for women that have blessed me in my life, I do have an emotional connection to black women. I do. You know, the black women in my life have been a blessing to me, led me to my wife. And the love black women have given me, and if I could give back, hey, that's a promise I made, you know? I went in prayer and I told God I would never ask a black woman for anything. You know, I will not take from, I will give. Because really, when I look at my life, black women in my life have given me everything. They have taught me what true love is. They have taught me what about being a person of faith. I met amazing black women that are women of faith and have improved my Christian life, which, you know, I got a lot of work to be done, but it made me a better person. And I'm telling you, people do not see the blessing in the black woman. A lot is maybe their ego's too big. Maybe they expect black women to do everything for her. I don't know. But I seen the true value at a young age. And people think, oh, okay, well, you got with a black woman. And they think it was some sexual thing that made me black woman crazy. That's not how it happened. I was black woman crazy as a little boy before I even thought about desiring women. I fell in love with a black woman before I ever had an intimate moment. And I think that's the proper way to love. You know? And when I got older, became a man, yeah, those desires came because it do, you know, men and women do desire each other. It's there. And that's going to come with the group of women that you know, you have love for, where your heart belongs to. You know, nothing wrong with that if you do it the right way. And you know what? Look, and I've been blessed. I found my wife, Sandy. You know, we got married back in '94 and been married ever since. Got kids, grandkids, and watching our family grow. And, you know, I invested in the black women. When people told me don't do it, people just knew my marriage wasn't going to work because it's a black woman, white man. That was the thought back in the day. All those interracial things never work. No, they do work, and they work better than being with your own racial group. You know? It's just because... And I think black women and white men are more strategic when they get together. Now, but I don't want to go all into that. I'll be talking to you all night. When I start opening up my heart and I talk about my life and I talk about black women and my wife, I'll talk all night. And You know, I'll start getting a little emotional and stuff. But anyway, Chrissy Way has done 2 videos already addressing the hypocrisy in the black community about Ashley. Okay. May she rest in paradise, peace. May Joe get his terrible karma. Yeah. Hey. And I'm all for that. Look, I have no problem with people talking about it if they do it the right way. Do it in a loving way. Show love and respect to the young lady. Don't trash her because she went to a white dude. Okay, that's irrelevant. You know, a young lady lost her life. Show some love and respect. Okay? And whether the black woman loses her life to a white guy, a black guy, an Asian guy, it don't matter. You know? Well, it matters because women shouldn't be losing their life to men. But what I'm saying is, instead of focusing just on who did it and only covering, you know, certain men that do it to push a narrative, we need to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And we need to hold the men accountable. Okay? Let me tell you something. A community will fall when you stop holding men accountable. Us as men, we have to be held accountable. I'm being honest. That's what makes men good men. It is accountability, self-correction. And if you get a man that can self-correct and hold himself accountable, you'll take a good, and he keeps doing it, he'll go from a good man to a great man. And amazingly, these great men doing great things, a lot of them are so humble they don't look at themselves as great men. But people can see the greatness, right? And women too. You know, accountability. We all need accountability. But us as men especially. Okay, ladies, you don't hold a man accountable, he'll run right over you. Okay, you don't have standards, he's going to take as much as you give him. Okay? Now, there are some great men that will not take advantage of you, but I'm telling you, a lot of men, look, they'll take what you give them. Okay? So hold your standards. What's that? Mildred and Richard Loving are a beautiful example of how black women, white men can work out. Yes. Yeah, and there's a lot of examples like Richard and Mildred Loving. Okay, they're out there. Okay? And what it is it's just 2 people that love each other more than their problems. You know Richard Loving? When he married his wife, you know there were a lot of people that wouldn't hire him. And he struggled at getting jobs because he had a black wife and they punished him for it. But he never left his wife. He still kept working. He still took what jobs he could do and still provided for his family while being treated like crap for having a black wife. That's character. That's beautiful. And you know what? She loved him more than anything in the world. You know? And it's happening. There are a lot of beautiful relationships that black women and white men are having. They're successful. They're doing great things. Okay? And we don't see that a lot because they ain't out there broadcasting how great their life is. You know, one thing about white men, and let me tell you, ladies, if you don't see a lot of white men going out there and saying how much they love black women and this and that, you know, white men just don't do that. They don't broadcast, they just live their life. But you can see it. You know, I'm a different animal here. I tell the world how much I love black women. Why? Because I can, and I love doing it. And people that get pissed off by it, it motivates me more to say it. But white men don't move like that. And there was a video I showed where Shay Sade said, well, black women, you're telling black women to open up your... Where are the men out there caping for you? Where are they at? Well, white men don't do that. They'll marry you and have a wonderful life with you. And they won't be telling everybody what they're doing. And you don't see white men up there praising white women or Asian women. They just go where they want. Okay, so keep that in mind. You ain't going to see white men going out there and just... They don't do that. They move in stealth mode, you might say. And nothing wrong with that. I think... But I'd like to see, more white men showing love for black women and being vocal about it. Tell the world. Nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I do it. They'll say, well, you're pandering, Roadrunner. You're just telling them what they want to hear for your channel. Well, let me tell you something. I put more money in my channel than I make. I don't make a lot of money. I really don't. I spend more on StreamYards than I get from my channel. So I'm actually losing money doing this, but I have the desire to do that. I have the desire to tell the world, and to uplift black women, tell the world and share my story and how I found love and how my wife always had my back and how she motivated me to be better and how it worked out and how much of a blessing it was. I watched my life turn around the day I got married. And people don't know this. And I'm telling you, black women make you feel like there's nothing you can't do. My wife had me believing I could do anything. And I've been blessed, and I don't know why I'm so blessed, and I don't know why everything worked out, but I think I know. Because I showed black women love and respect, and God rewarded me for it. Gave me an amazing wife that helped me turn my life around, and my family's seen that. It's a testimony I have. And when you see that, you'll understand why I love black women. You'll understand why black women are my preference. And people, when I was younger, didn't get it, but they see me now in my life. They're understanding. They see the truth. The truth will surface. And look, I'm an everyday guy, but I have much more than an everyday guy blessing. I do. Talk about privilege. I have it. Oh God, do I have it. I'm thankful for it. But it's because I invested in the black woman. I married my wife. That was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I tell you, it's impacted me, my children, my grandchildren. You don't think there's a black wife effect? I'm telling you, it's there, it's real. And it's not about a haircut or a new outfit. What happened? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Something's happening in my computer, guys. Can you guys still hear me? Give me a 1 if you can. I think the devil's trying to sabotage my computer. Because I'm starting to show love to black women and praising God, and the devil don't like that. But I'm telling you guys, I don't do this. I don't make money on it. I don't. I make a few dollars, but I do it because it's a passion I have. I do it because I want people to know my story. And I do it to show black women love and respect, because black women have been a blessing to me. And it's not like I feel I have to do it, I want to do it. Oh, thanks for the ones. I appreciate that, guys. But I hate watching the news. I don't want to see no more black women being unalive. This is... We're seeing that. We're seeing people celebrate that stuff too. What's wrong with these people? But anyway, guys, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go ahead and close this up. Look, my thing is ladies, be careful. Okay? Date like your life depended on it. I'm not saying go around life being scared and afraid, but look for the red flags. Be in a safe place. Never go out on a blind date alone with somebody. Don't do that. Okay? My suggestion is get to know people before you start dating. My suggestion is have a friendship circle where you get to know people. Okay? And I know it's hard in today's world because, people are doing the online dating thing and, dating people in different states. But be careful. That can be dangerous. Well, it can be dangerous just meeting somebody, in your neighborhood. Any situation can be dangerous, okay? For me, I'm old school. I never did no dating thing online. When I got married, they didn't really have that. They had it, but it wasn't like we didn't have our smartphones and you didn't go to some dating site and do a profile. The dating sites they had back then, you'd go into a dating business and you go inside and record a video on a VCR and tell a little bit about yourself, and they would show you different videos of people. That's how they did it. Okay? I never did that. Every woman that I've dated, I had to approach and talk to them face to face, up close and personal. And honestly, I think that's the best way. I do. Okay? Now, people find love and the dating thing works for them and great. My generation, we didn't really do that, okay? There were very few doing the dating thing. And you had to go into a building and make a video. You couldn't just do like they do now. Okay? And it's more, how can I say it? More people in your town, okay? But anyway. But just be careful, ladies. Okay? And those that love black women, don't be afraid to say it. Okay? People at work know I love black women. Well, they know I'm married to a black woman, so of course. But I tell them I do. And sometimes it'll start an argument. Well, you say black women are the best. Well, tell us how that is, and I'll tell them. And they'll say, well, but what about Asian and white women? And we'll go round and round. And I'm just like, look, that's my preference. I've been blessed. And you like who you like, okay? And if you think that's the best, you do you. But I have a track record. People seen how my life has turned out. And I'm telling you, you find the right person, you find somebody that you love that loves you too, it's a blessing. And I want to share my blessing as long as I can. Whether I'm talking to 300 people or 2 people. Okay? I want to be a blessing to somebody. And I want black women to know how amazing and beautiful they are. And look, I didn't grow up in a black neighborhood, so it's not like that's all I had. No. Very few black women were around. Most time I seen black women was at church. And that's the biggest interaction with black people that me and my family had. You know? It's kind of ironic. You know, Martin Luther King gave a speech, said the most segregated day is on Sunday. Well, in the segregated South, it was like that, but where I live, it wasn't like that. The church I went to had all groups of people. They didn't discriminate. They were just worried about telling people about Jesus and, you know, trying to get as many people saved and part of the church family, and that's all so there were different groups of people. And that's a beautiful thing. You know? And that's really what Christianity is about. Spreading the gospel to every human being. Really, Christianity is not segregated at all. We're supposed to bring everybody into God's family. Regardless of what color they are, regardless of what country they're from. We're supposed to spread the gospel around the world. It was never meant for a Christian church to be segregated. That's ungodly. That's wrong. You're supposed to give everybody the gospel. Okay? And I'm not turning this into a church session, but I'm just saying. If you're really a Christian, you love everybody. You give the gospel to everybody. You don't just talk to people that look like you. That's not that's not how it goes. You talk to everybody. Okay? And it's better that way. It makes the community a better place, the world a better place, right? That's the goal. But anyway, guys, I thank you so much for joining me tonight. And say prayers, you know, about these women. Pray for their families, you know, their mothers and fathers and their children. There's a lot of heartbreak going on. Okay? And pray for these women and their families. Okay? Because there are mothers that are heartbroken, lost their daughters. Shouldn't have been. Okay? And pray that us men, we do better as men. Okay? Across the board. Okay? You know, we need to do better. This domestic violence thing should never be a thing. We need to go back to the teachings. We don't hit girls or women. Okay? Look, when I was little, I was like 3 years old in the sandbox. A little girl pulled my hair and I pushed her. My dad got a hold of me and he let me know, you don't hit girls. But yeah, Dad, she pulled me. I don't care. You don't do it, son. He made sure he drilled that into my head as I was growing up from a little boy to a man. And you know what? When I got in a domestic situation, I did not react. I didn't lay hands on that woman. I did the right thing. It probably saved my life and hers too. There's a reason we're taught certain things. Okay? Yeah, I took some abuse. She hit me. It didn't feel good. But I got through it. And I didn't harm her. Okay? What's that? There's an astounding amount of black femicide right now. Black femicide, feticide, so many black women unalived are pregnant too. Yeah, that happens. And some women are unalive because they got pregnant. Okay? And And that's another reason you shouldn't have sex before marriage. You really shouldn't. I know people say Roadrunner, okay, that's your beliefs, but most people don't do that, Roadrunner. I've had people say, well, I can't do that. Well, okay, you should though. You should wait till marriage. Look, wouldn't you want to have a child with somebody that loves you, that's going to be there for you? Shouldn't you be husband and wife before you bring a child? I'm just saying, look, I'm traditional. That's how I was taught. Some people think, oh, well, as long as you're together, you don't have to be married, just a piece of paper. To me, marriage is a commitment, a promise between a man and a woman and God. It's a blessing. It's sacred. It's God's plan. It just, marriage is a beautiful thing. Look, I can't see myself not being married. That I don't know how people do it. But I guess that's just me. I understand, but unfortunately, marriage isn't protecting black women from femicide. Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that, okay? Now, with the right man, marriage is protection. With the wrong man, marriage ain't protection. I know there are married women getting unalived. It's happening, okay? I would say marriage is protection depending on who you're married to. Okay? That's what I'm going to say. That's my opinion on that. Okay? But, some people get married and, are unalived by their husbands. I get that. Okay? But you find the right man that loves you and protects you, that protects you from other men that would do you harm, right? And vice versa. So I'd say yes and no. Okay, I'm going depending on who you're with. Okay? Marriage sometimes is protection, sometimes not. Okay? Yeah, I get that. Okay? Look, there are people who've been married several years and the husband might unalive you. Okay? But there are many marriages where the husband never harms his wife and she's protected from other men because she's got a good man. Now, maybe that pastor, maybe he just had evilness in him and he snapped. Just because somebody's a pastor don't mean they can't commit sin. Okay? Just because someone's a preacher and been married several years don't mean he can't do evil. Okay? There are wolves in sheep's clothing. There are preachers out there that are abusive. There are preachers out there sleeping with church members. Okay? They're not supposed to do that, but there are some that do that. Okay? And I would say, if that happens in your church, okay, do not turn away from God because a preacher is doing wrong. Keep your faith. Stay focused. Serve God. Okay, so many times we serve God until somebody we look up to does something wrong and you say, forget it. Christianity's a bunch of crap. No, it's not. Just because he sinned and did wrong don't mean you have to. Don't give up. Stay focused. Always serve God. You gotta understand, people are sinners. They're corrupt. Okay? But I get what you're saying. It can happen. Okay? But look, most people ain't doing that. Okay? My grandparents were married till they took their last breath. My grandfather never hurt my grandmother. My father was married to my stepmother till she passed. He never abused her, never hit her, never. I've been, I would never lay hands on my wife. Okay? But there are some people that are evil, even in the church. That's why you focus on God and trust in God, not man, okay? People are people. That's why we trust in God, not people, okay? Okay. Yeah, well, a lot of black women are being unalived that are breadwinners, business owners. It seems like these men are insecure and yeah. And sometimes, and look, I'm going to be honest. If my wife was a breadwinner and I was struggling, I wouldn't feel good as a man. I just wouldn't. But I wouldn't harm my wife because I'd just be, it would be my problem that I got to fix. But some men, they get jealous of their wives. They get insecure and feel like they're good enough. And sometimes women, might not respect a man that's not providing. So yeah, that could lead to problems. Yeah, there are a lot of jealous, insecure men. That's sad. And I always tell men, always, here's my belief. A man should date a woman at his level or below him financially. Okay? And women, you need to date men that make more than you, that are up. Okay? Now, you can do what you want, but at least be at the same level. It tends to work out better. Now, I know there's some cases where the woman's a breadwinner and the guy's okay with it and they go through life and do their thing. I get it. But a lot of us men, we've been raised to be the provider, the protector. And when we can't do that, we don't feel right. Okay? And some men deal with that by working harder or improving to where they can get to where they can be a better provider and do better. Okay? Some men get through that. Some, they get jealous and get insecure and lose their mind. Okay? It's really a character issue. Because a good man will pull himself up. Will self-correct. That's why self-correction is important. For us as men, we got to see our faults. It don't help us for people to sugarcoat our problems, our hide, our weakness. It really don't help. Okay? And the reason I share things with you guys that I struggle with is because if you're going to do better, you got to know your weakness. And you correct it. I talk to people about getting out of high school, reading at a 6th grade level. Some of my haters, they use that against me. You can't read, Ronald, you're dumb. But the thing of it is I seen a fault. I knew I had to fix it. And I took action to fix it. And I improved. And I had to take some college prep courses to get me to where I could actually go to college, right? I had to get my reading level up. I had to pay tutors to help me as a grown man. Okay? I was in my early 20s, and so, I'm still young enough I can fix this. Okay? And it took a few years, okay? It didn't come overnight. I had to work at it. I had to spend some money. My wife spent a lot of time helping me too. Okay? And the thing of it is, look, we're humans. We got strengths and weaknesses. And people that know their weaknesses and work to improve it do better. You know? But anyway, I'm drifting all over the place. But I want to motivate people. I want people to know, and there's a lot of people struggling out there. A lot of people, they're ashamed. I don't want people to be ashamed. Yeah, know your weakness, take accountability, and fix it. And believe it or not, there's people out there that love you that will help you. I found that out. It was humbling. It was embarrassing, but I had to go through it to fix it. I couldn't just hide it and pretend that it didn't exist. Too many people hide their problems and act like it's not a problem and get in denial. But it helped me be better as a man. It helped me do better. And believe it or not, it helped me with my marriage too. It helped me have confidence to do better. It helped me be a better husband, a better father. Because, if your kids see you working hard and constantly improving, they learn that. Anyway, I don't want to get wrapped up all in that. But, guys, I thank you for watching tonight. And look, ladies, date like your life depended on it. Guys, too, be careful out there. Okay? Have your standards. Do not compromise your standards. Ladies, don't do it. Look for those red flags. You can't fix a man. You can't rebuild a man. If he's broken, leave him alone. Okay? Most of the times it don't work out. There's always an exception. There are some cases it does, but mostly it don't. Okay? And look, the man don't have to be rich, but if he works hard, got a job, he can provide for you. Okay? Especially when you're younger, when you're in your 20s, men ain't established yet. When I got married at 24, I didn't have a trade or a career at that time. Well, no, I had the army, okay? But I was learning. But through the years, got better, worked harder, and built more wealth. But there were ups and downs along the way, and there's going to be, and that's okay. But anyway, guys, ladies, like your life depended on it, okay? Guys too, okay? All right? Know who you're dating, all right? Look for those red flags, okay? Like I said, there are good and evil in all groups, okay? Don't think because you're with the white guy you're safe, or you're with a black man that nothing's going to happen to you. Don't be foolish. Men in all groups a man of any color can harm you. Always remember that. Okay? Okay. But guys, you have a good night. Let me say a prayer real quick before I go. Lord, thank you so much for tonight, Lord. And I pray for these young ladies and their families, Lord. And I pray that you will bless their families, Lord. These women, they had mothers and fathers that lost a daughter. They had children that lost a mother, Lord. And I pray that you would bless them, Lord. And I pray that you will help us become better men in our society, Lord. That we could protect women better, Lord. And I pray that you would bless black women out there, Lord, and protect them. And Lord, I pray that this black femicide numbers, that it would go down, and black women would be more protected and more safe, Lord. And I know there's evil out there, Lord, but please let us as men stand up against evil. Lord, and please, Lord, have the courage to stand up for the women we love, Lord. And those of us men that are married to black women, love black women, Lord, give us the courage to show our love and respect and have the courage to protect black women. Lord, and I know we can't roam the streets protecting black women everywhere, but I pray you give us the courage that when in need we can protect. Lord, and I pray for our nation, everybody that's in it, that we would become better people. Love each other more, Lord. That we can have the courage to open up our options and find good people. And those that stay within the race, I pray you would bless them too. I pray the marriage rates go up in every community, Lord. Whether they're the same racial group or they're opening up their options, Lord, I pray you would bless us, our nation in marriage, that we would respect marriage. And we would love and respect the women in our lives and not lay down with women that aren't our wives, Lord. I pray that you would make us better men. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay. And I do pray that, look, as human beings we're flawed, but we can always do better. Okay? Okay, and good men, need to do better and hold other men accountable. Okay? It does no good to say, well, I'm a good man, I'm not hurting women, and then just watch other men harm women. That's not good. Okay? Least we could do is speak out about it. Okay? And what we can do to protect black women is, number one, we can show black women love and respect. Okay, when black women do good things, how about showing that? There's a lot of people going out bashing black women. Okay? How about us men go out there and uplift black women? Yeah, and showcase things that our black women are doing. How black women that are out there that have been single mothers and end up getting their education and build up and get a good career and move forward and doing amazing things. What about black women's education level? Most educated? How about we talk about that? How about we talk about a black woman's loyalty? Black women are very loyal. How about a black woman having a big heart and being nurturing? Why don't we talk more about that? I don't hear a lot of people talking about these things. I don't hear people out there that are married to black women going out and say how much they love their black wife. I know they had the black wife effect, and that's beautiful. White men going out there showing appreciation to their black wives. That's awesome. And there's some black dudes talking about the black wife effect. We all as men should uplift black women. Okay? How about that? How about quit bashing black women because of their weave or nails or that stupid, superficial stuff? How about we talk about the black woman's character? How about we talk about the black woman's love? Okay? Because I'm telling you, you get to know black women and you develop a friendship, I'm telling you, it's a blessing. And there's something beautiful about black women, whether they're 20 or 80. There's an essence about black women. There's a kindness. There's a sweetness to them. Okay? Black women are beautiful. Black women are, I call black women the hidden treasure. Okay? It's like it's hidden right in front of our face. We see black women all the time. A lot of us men don't know how much of a beautiful treasure black women are. Thank God my eyes were open and I can see it. Thank God that I I can see the beauty in people that don't look like me. Huh? Not everybody has that. Maybe God can move in us and, see people's character and see the beauty and see how amazing black women are. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and go, but just food for thought. Okay? Because the more we respect women, the more women will be respected. But anyway, you guys have a good night. God bless you and your family. I hope you have a good weekend. Okay, guys? And thanks for being part of this show, being part of this platform. Okay? You guys are a blessing, and I love you guys. I do. You guys are a true blessing to me and my wife, Sandy. And my wife don't come on here all the time, once in a blue moon. But she does watch every show, and she tells me to tell you thank you for showing me love and her love. Okay? Showing us love and respect. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Okay? And us as people, we got a lot of evil in this world. How about we start being a good influence to people? But anyway, guys, I'll see you next Saturday for sure. I might pop up on a video or something during the week. Okay? But look, next 2 days I'm off. I'm going to be spending it with my wife and enjoying the next 2 days. Okay? But thank you guys. I love you. You're amazing. Okay? And black women, just know how beautiful and amazing you are. Okay? I'm telling you, you have more of an impact than you even know. You have more love and beauty within you than you even know. You have more power than you know. Okay? I'm telling you. You take a guy like me and turn me around. That's saying something. But anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you next Saturday. God bless.